Alright, in this video I want to share with you guys one of the most unique ways to create fire beats in FL Studio. As you guys already know, I'm not going to waste any of your time, so let's just jump straight in. Alright, so we are now here in FL Studio 21, as you guys can see, and I will be completely fair with you guys, but I have actually already made a sample. I did make the sample from scratch with you guys, but the camera actually died. So hopefully the camera is going to stay alive now, but I will break down the sample with you guys step by step. But firstly, let's just take a listen to how it sounds. Really like how it turned out. You might think it looks a little bit simple, but it turns out such a unique sound. So like I said, it might look a little bit simple just looking at the patterns, but make sure to check it out because I did for sure do some super unique stuff for the counter melodies. And then I will try to show you a few cool tricks when we add the drums later on. But the first thing I added was this dark score piano in Omnisphere. It's just using the keyscape library, but I didn't do any changes to it. Now, as you guys can see, the MIDI pattern also looks super simple. So as I already said, I did want to do some more unique stuff for the counter melody, but that meant that I wanted the main melody to be super simple. So literally all this pattern actually is just two notes right here. So if you want to recreate something like this, all you literally want to do is just add a note on the root note and then one note 3 semitones up. Then all I did was just pitch this up 1 octave, and on this second bar you're just going to chop them up into 4s right here. Then literally all I did right here was just highlight these two notes right there and pitch them down 1 semitone. For the second part you can just copy it over and pitch it up by 5 semitones, and that is literally the piano pattern right there. Now for the effects, I did start off with a roam at about 16%. Then I added this RC20 using the Vinyl 3 preset. We have a kickstart 2 at about 60% to give it that pulsing type of feel. Then a cool effect I did add was this step down filter from Effect Rack. It is a preset in the filter section, but I did turn off this decapitator though. And then lastly, we just have this EQ to cut out the low end and those mid frequencies as well. So you can hear the effects change a little bit of the sound up. It still has that pulse from the kickstart, and the vibe is just different. Alright, that is going to be our bass layer for the melody, but now let's go into the more unique parts of the sample. So the second instrument I added was actually a vocal from Vocalize 3 in Contact. Now what I actually did with this was that I just put in a couple of phrases in the piano roll, and then I just rendered it out as an audio file. Once I had the audio file, I actually put it into Fruity Slicer over here. Made sure to press this and go over to beat. Then I just turned the attack up a little bit to remove that clicking noise. So this right here is how the original vocal phrase sounded without any effects. But I definitely wanted to spice up those vocals and do some more unique tricks for them. So since we have them in Fruity Slicer, I really wanted to chop up the whole vocal to give it a different vibe. So once I chopped it up, I found this super fire pattern right here. So you can hear the chopped up version of the vocal phrase sounds way better. And something to keep in mind if you're trying to do the same thing, as you guys can see, I sometimes actually leave a few notes in between just to give the sample some more space from the vocal so it doesn't play over and over again. Now, although the vocal sounds pretty fire, we definitely needed to add some effects to spice up the sound. So for the effects, I just started off with a sound shifter just to pitch it up a whole octave up. I really like doing this with vocals because it pitches the whole thing up 1 octave, and in my opinion it always makes the vocal sound better. Then again, I wanted that pulsing feel over on the vocal as well, so I added this kickstart 2 at about 72% this time. Then we have this roam at about 24% again for that ambience and reverb. Then obviously, since we pitched up the vocal up 1 octave, we need to add a EQ to cut out those high frequencies. And lastly, I did a super unique trick with the effects. So I actually added halftime to the vocal, and then I went over to this effects knob and turned it all the way to the left. It is again going to give us that pulsing type of sound, but it's actually going to do it with the halftime. So now let's take a listen to the vocal with the effects and the piano. So you can hear the effects really spice up that vocal. It just fits so well with this piano though. And the whole vibe has that pulse to it. Now I really like how the sample sounded, but it for sure needed to be filled out a little bit. So to give it that extra power, I just added this organ from Mellotron 5. It is literally just the chords from the piano with an extra top note on top. It has such a cool panning effect to it as well. So just to get that panning effect on the organ, I did just use this free plugin called Pancake 2. Literally just kept it at complete standard settings, so the mix is at 100%, and this is just the stock preset as well. Then lastly, I just went into this drip bank in Arcade right here, and I just laid down 2 melody phrases from this one. And this one right here for the second part. Now with all those elements, that is the finished sample. The last thing we're gonna do is just pitch it down by 3 semitones, and let's take a listen to how it sounds. So simplicity is really key for this one, but it still has a unique sound. Yeah, I really like the second part as well. This is gonna go crazy once we add some drums to it, for sure. Right, with the sample finished, now it's time we add some drums. As for all the drum sounds I'm using, they are of course coming from my Euphoria bundle kit. So if you guys still haven't checked out the kit, you can obviously go on my website, it's BBMarko.com, or you guys can just click the first link down below. Let's just start with this clap and snare pattern. A little bit of a subtle hit right there as well. As for the hi-hat pattern, I'm actually just going to go into the Euphoria bundle kit and look through the MIDI section. So let's try to drag in this number 22. Yeah, this one goes hard. I think this fits for sure. Yeah, let's add an open hat in as well. And that fits. Now I have loaded up a lot of different perks and rims, so I really want to create a cool and different type of bounce with the perks, and then we can put in the kick and the 808 at the end. Right, so we have a lot of different perks and snares going on right now. Perk right here as well, and then the snare. I think it's time we add the kick and the 808 now. Alright, now for that 808 pattern, I want to show you guys a little bit of a unique trick you can do. So I feel like this 808 pattern could use a super hard reverse 808. So to do exactly that, I'm just going to keep this basic 808 pattern to start off with, and then I'm just going to copy it over, and I think we can do that reverse part at the end on the last 8 bars. So I'm just going to go over here and chop this up. Then you want to make sure to highlight this note and hit Alt and U. This is going to bring up the chopper. Now you just want to chop a lot of different hits like this. Hit accept and then go down to the velocity. Once you're at the velocity, you just want to right click and fade up the velocity of the 808 until this hit right here. So it hits super hard in the start, then we have the reverse part. Yeah. Now let's just paste in that kick pattern, and let's actually offset some of the kick hits before the 808. So in the last 4 bars, you will see the 808 actually hits right here. So I'm gonna move the kick a little bit before the 808 hits. Yeah, that's perfect. On this part as well. Woo. Alright, before we take a final listen, we just need to arrange the whole beat. So since I feel like this beat is super punchy and hard, we can actually implement the drums already in the intro. So a thing I'm actually going to try to do is just chop up the drums on the first part right here, and then we can just copy this over 4 times. Well, now we kind of actually want to do this with the melody as well. So let's copy that 4 times over as well. So we can kind of have this intro right here. And then it drops right in. That's gonna be super fire. Then I'm just gonna have pretty much all the elements except from that flute counter melody on the first part of the hook. Then for the second part of that counter melody, we're gonna bring back the flute, but we're gonna remove that reverse bell section. We can also try to do some cool chops for the drums on that second hook. So we're just gonna leave this empty. Try to remove the hi-hats here as well. Yeah, that's a little bit subtle, but it definitely has a difference. Right, so these two parts are super busy, but now we definitely want to slow it a little bit down. So over here, I'm going to remove the vocals and I'm just going to have these bells playing with the piano and the organ. Then we are going to delay the hi-hats a little bit. Let's also remove the 808 and maybe we can just have the kick playing. And let us also remove a few of the perks and snares. Then for this part, we're going to bring back the vocal. And then lastly, for the bridge, we're going to have a part without any drums. We are just going to have the melody playing over here. Now let us actually go into the mixer and go to the 5th insert where we have all our melodies. Over here, I'm going to actually open up a 3D Love filter to really create that underwater type of sound. So just go over to the presets, right click over here and press simple triangle low pass. Then you want to mess a little bit around with the cut and the volume as well. Then make sure to turn it off in the mixer and create an automation clip by right clicking on it. As you can see, we now have an automation clip in the playlist, so we're just going to put one over here that fades up to this bridge. Then we obviously want to make sure that it fades down towards the end of it as well. Once that is done, we're just going to copy the hook over again, and that should pretty much be our beat. Alright, so let's take a final listen to how the beat turned out. Yeah, that intro is crazy. This kind of is the main part of the hook. Then this is the second part that comes in. Yeah, I love those cuts we made right there. Slow it a little bit down for the verse right here. On the kick right here. No 808. But it comes in. That's punchy. Yeah, this is hard. I'm messing with this. Here we have the bridge. And it just builds up to that hook again.